This is going to be a full tutorial. The videos are going to be split up into separate parts because this full dog is going to take quite a few hours to draw, but I'm going to talk you through it from start to finish. This is Bella, the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. She's black, white and tan, so we've got a few different colours to work with. I can talk you through how I create those, and this is all going to be in coloured pencil. So I've just drawn out her head and chest onto this 6x6 inch piece of paper. In the description, I'll include a link to the reference photos, and I'll also include a list of the coloured pencils that I use for each part. I've drawn the outline using the grid method and just a HB pencil. When we're starting, it's quite important with coloured pencil to erase your outlines. So obviously I've drawn the outlines for a reason. I don't want to just completely go and rub it all out at once. I'm just going to work little bits at a time and then draw over those with colour pencils. So we want to get all the shapes in. So for this part, we're going to start with the eyes. Let's start with this left eye. I'm going to use a pencil from the Faber-Castell Polychromos Dark Sepia. And I'm just going to erase slightly. So I've got a putty eraser. You can use any eraser. I just like this one. It doesn't leave any residue on the page. So I'm just going to very lightly tap over the whole eye. So you can see the outline is still there, but it's just very, very faint. So I've got quite a sharp pencil with a dog fur on, apparently. Okay, got a very sharp pencil, and I just want to go around the very outside of the eye where it's really dark. I'm going to start at the top and just sketch in that shape. My pencil could probably do with being a little bit sharper, to be honest. As you can see on the photo, the top is really, really dark, almost black. And then along the bottom here, it is a lot lighter, so it's dark in the corner. And then I just want to press a lot lighter with my pencil to go along the bottom. So this reference photo has been taken, as you can tell, in bright sunlight. So there's quite a lot of bright and dark areas in this photo. Okay, I just want to now go in, so it's like her eyelid almost, or her reflection. It's hard to tell what is what, to be honest, but you can see there's like a dark sort of triangle going along the top and then just into the corner. So I'm using the not so sharp part of the pencil now, just on the side, so that it's going to blend out. We don't want too harsh of a line here because you can see it sort of blends in with her eyeball. Comes down as well. In the very corners it's dark, so you can press harder there. And then just lift your pencil as it comes out sort of more into the eye. I'm going to do the exact same now with her right eye. So I'm just using my eraser to lightly get rid of this outline. Now it's the same on this side, so the top is quite dark and in the corners, but just along the bottom is quite light, so we're just going to do pretty much the exact same thing. Just look closely at the shape of the eye, make sure you get it all right. Keep looking back at your reference photo. Oops, try not to drop your pencil. there's one dark line sort of going across there. I think it's part of the reflection. So because this is quite a small drawing, I'm not going to be able to get that much detail into the eyes. It depends obviously what size you're following this in. I've kept it quite small because I want to be able to do it fairly quickly for the tutorial, because it's all about the techniques really, and then once you've sort of learned those and practiced those, you'll be able to draw any size. I just had to give my dog Biscuit a little shower because he decided to walk under Loki while he was having a wee. So he was just stinking. But now he just smells like wet dog. I guess it's a nicer smell than wee, but it's not great. So I need to extend this line on the left eye. There we go. I'm doing the two eyes at once. Just because I thought it would be a better sort of tutorial rather than teaching you all one thing and then doing the next and the next and then having to repeat it all on the second eye. So I'm going to stay with my dark sepia pencil, and you can see in the middle of her eye she's got the reflection, so I think it's the reflection of the lady taking the photo. You can see like a little head there, so we're just going to lightly map in those shapes. Now you don't have to worry about this being a person or what the reflection is. You just want to look for the different shapes and sort of lines. And I've just shaded it in slightly just to blend it out, because this is all gonna blend together with the brown just underneath. So same on this side, just look at the shapes and literally just copy them. Don't press too hard with your pencil. Like I said, you're going to want it to sort of blend out all together. You don't want too many like harsh lines. Press a bit harder just for that part in the corner, because you can just see it goes around this reflection. It's quite a harsh line. This corner, I need to bring this dark sepia just up and around. Create that little curve just in the corner. There we go. Oh my gosh, don't know if you can hear it, but it's just started absolutely hammering down outside. It's been like it all week. It's like on and off, and it's just coming in really bad showers. Looks a bit crazy at the moment, but once all the colours go in, it won't. So her eyes are brown, but because like I said, she's in the sunlight, the light is quite harsh. They look a lot lighter. I'm gonna use ivory to start with. So this is from the Polychromos as well. I'm just gonna colour in this bottom half of your eye, do that on both sides, just where you can see that sort of light browny colour. So colour pencils, you mostly want to work from light to dark, so where it's pretty much black there, you can sort of go in with your darker pencils straight away, because we're not going to be layering that many colours on top. It's mostly just going to be either dark sepia again or a black pencil. But where you want to sort of mix your colours and everything, you want to work from light to dark, because with colour pencils you can't put light pencils on top of dark pencils. It just doesn't work. Not for just sort of normal paper anyway. I think if you have pastel mat, I've never tried it, but I think you can layer light on dark on that paper. And possibly if you're using like drafting film as well, where you've got like sort of 2 layers, you can do it then, but just for sort of normal paper you can't. Now I've brought it slightly into where the dark sepia was as well, and that'll just help all of the colours blend together. Now I think I'm going to use raw umber 10% from Crown Lash Luminance. I'll probably do sharpening, but it's only a little bit, just in this corner, so it looks kind of grey, and on this side. This is just helping to set sort of like the base colours, and then I think I'm going to use some browns then, just to brighten it up. Okay, I'm going to use this nugget from Polychromos, number 178. So I'm going to bring it along this bottom line. Now I'm not pressing too hard, because I just want it to blend with the ivory that we've just used and the raw umber. If you don't have the luminance pencil, I would definitely recommend raw umber 10%. It's a really good pencil. I use it pretty much every drawing. But if you don't have that, I would use, if you have Polychromos, like a warm grey one maybe. Just sort of like a light grey. So it's still just pressing lightly. You can go in sort of little circles with your pencil, and that will help to blend sometimes, because you won't be left with any sort of harsh lines that way, because all of your pencil strokes will be overlapping then. And I press a bit harder in this corner just on top of the dark sepia. I'll layer that, because I think we'll use maybe another darker brown right in these bottom corners, or just go over with dark sepia. Now I want to put some colour into the reflection, so you can see it's quite blue, so obviously it's just reflecting the sky. So I've got, it's quite a fitting colour name, it's Sky Blue from the Polychromos. And I'm just going to very lightly, so I'm doing those little circular motions like I said. Just want to put this in. I don't want to cover the entire top section because you can see it's quite blue in this middle part and then it goes a bit lighter, more of like a grey. So just where you can see it's really blue, you can put that in. Same on this side. And then I think I'll use maybe a warm grey actually. So I've got warm grey 1. Just doing the same thing. Now I'm going to go over the blue, just so it's not as bright. Same on this side. Okay, now we need to go and darken just the outlines and the middle sort of reflections. So I'm just going to stick with my dark sepia. No, I'm lying. I'm going to use dark indigo from Polychromos. It's just a really dark blue, like a navy sort of colour. It's going over the top of this middle reflection. And then a little bit on the outside too. So the dark sepia is like an almost black, but it's a really, really dark brown. So obviously it's quite warm toned. But then if you look at this reference photo, you can see like a lot of her fur has got quite a lot of sort of blue. It's like quite cool toned. And it's the same with their eyes as well. So if I bring some dark indigo in, that'll sort of give that hint of the cooler tones without it being blue, yeah. So even though we're going to layer on top of it, every sort of layer of colour that you add does add to the overall sort of colour and effect of the drawing. So I'm back with dark sepia now. Now I'm going to press a lot harder on the outline. So I want this to be really dark now. If you look at the photo, you can see that it sort of blends out. So don't worry about it being too sharp, because we want it to sort of mix with the fur around it. You just want to sort of cover the grain of the paper now with this step. So the harder you press, the more it'll sort of go into that top of the paper and you won't be able to see it. And you want to be careful with this step, because when you press in hard, especially with this colour, you're not really going to be able to erase it or go over it. So you want to make sure that everything's going in the right sort of place that you want it. Gosh, it's going dark in here again. It's going to stop raining again, I think. going to go for these middle sort of reflections now. And again, just press a lot harder. Oh my gosh. That's one biscuit. He's just eating his bones, now he's deciding to choke on it. He's had a hell of a day. Got weed on, had a shower, choking on his bone. But just repeating the step that we did earlier with this reflection. So go over where you've drawn it, but I'm just pressing a bit harder. You can see on the right hand side it goes up into the reflection, like in the sky I mean. So you can draw those lines in. And do the same with the other eye. Just keep looking back at the photo, see where you need to sort of press hard or lighter. And go around this big bright bit in the corner. I think I'm going to add sort of a brighter brown. Yeah, right, I've only got my tiny pencil at the minute, so this is burnt umber. And just along the bottoms, I'm not going to bring it up for the whole brown section, but that'll just brighten it up a bit. You probably don't have to do this step. But I just want your eyes to be a bit brighter. If you can see any parts of the reflection in the middle need blending out a bit, you could use this. Okay, pretty much done now. Last step would just be this sky again, so I'm going to use the sky blue. Just going to press a bit harder and go over those sections again in the middle. And then I think we might use the dark indigo, especially just on this side. I'm trying to keep this, doesn't seem like it so far, but I'm trying to keep this tutorial using sort of the least amount of pencils as I can. I obviously still want it to be good work and sort of realistic as possible. So I'm trying to draw it as I sort of normally would, but just be a bit more conscious with my pencil choices for you. So I understand, like, a lot of you sort of watching my tutorials be beginners or just starting, might not have that many colours. Like this has been my job for the last over 4 years. I've obtained a lot of pencils in that time. Just going to press a little bit harder. Oh my god, I can't speak harder with my dark sepia there. You might not have to do this. You might have done it right the first time. Probably did. There we go. Just need to, looking at the reference photo, bring the dark sepia into the eye a little bit more there now. I'm going to colour that bright bit just with warm grey again. I'm going to start her fur with the black, and firstly I'm going to colour in this triangle sort of there that you can see where the light is hitting. It's a lot lighter than the rest of the black fur, just because it's like the way that her face is. So the parts that are sticking out sort of the most, the light will be hitting, and they'll be lighter than the rest of the fur. So you can see in the reference photo it looks almost white compared to the black fur, but it is going to be quite dark. So again, I'm just erasing that sort of initial first outline, and I'm going to start with Cold Grey 2 from Polychromos. So like I mentioned earlier, you can see in the reference photos quite cool toned, so we're going to be using mostly the colder greys, I think, for the base layers and everything. So I'm just using sort of the side of my pencil, using, don't press too lightly, but you don't want to be pressing really hard either. You want to be able to see some of that grain of the paper. I just bring it up, and you're going to make sure that you're following the direction of the fur. So all of your pencil strokes, they're going to be going in slightly different directions. So you can see on the left hand side the fur is sort of flicking out this way, and on the right it's going that way. So I find with dogs, the fur in their face all tends to sort of go around and like away from the eye. So that'll sort of help you realise like which way to put your pencils. But just keep looking back at your reference photo and make sure you're always following that direction. Now I've gone over my lines slightly from my initial outline, because again, like earlier, it'll just help us to blend them together later. So you want quite an even base before we add any details. So you can see just like sort of around near the eyes, the fur is flicking out, but you're not going to worry about that just yet. You're going to sort of draw around the furs later. I think at the same time as doing this, I'm going to do this sort of ring that's going around her head. If you can see on the photo where it's just light, it's like a similar colour to this. So all I'm doing, so I used the grid method to draw the outline, so I'm just erasing this grid before I start adding the colour. And again, I'm just doing little sections at a time, just so I can compare it with my reference photo. I know I'm going in the right place. Now you really want to sort of copy the fur strokes with your pencil, so the fur is quite long and it's kind of straight, so you're just going to be doing back and forth like that. You can sort of go up and down with your pencil, just try and sort of replicate it. And again, make sure you're looking at the reference photo, so here the fur direction is changing, where it's going around the different parts of her head. Just rub out where you need to with your grid if you've used the grid method. If you haven't, I assume you've outlined her little tan eyebrows. You'll need to rub out just the tops of that, just by here. You don't want any graphite pencil in your final coloured pencil drawing. As soon as you add coloured pencil on top of the graphite, you're not able to erase it. So just be careful. If you find it easier, you can sort of rotate your paper to get the right angle to curve your first strokes. I find I'm okay going this way, but then to go like down that way, I find it quite hard. Okay, I'm just going to bring some of this down now into where the darker fur is. So I'm just pressing a bit harder where, it's going to sound counterintuitive, but just in these lighter bits that we're doing now, I'm pressing a bit harder and then I'm just going lighter into the dark areas. Just because I don't want to lose this sort of shape that we've done already, but I want it all to still blend together. Okay, I'm going to use warm grey one now. So I like to sort of, especially for black and white fur, I like to use a mix of both the cold and the warm greys. So even though she's mostly like cool toned here, using sort of a mix of both, it'll just help to stop her looking completely like blue and really cold. It sort of, they balance each other out. We can use some colours in the highlights anyway, so I can see a lot of purple and blue in these highlighted bits, so that'll sort of bring it all together anyway. Just going over all the same bits. I'm pressing kind of hard, but like I say, you can still see some of the paper through it, so we can still add quite a lot more layers, to be honest, onto this now. Just make sure you've gone over everything. I want to now sort of outline all of these different shapes. So I'm going to use, I've just sharpened it, Cold Grey 4. So this is going to be quite a bit darker than the Cold Grey 2 Warm Grey 1 that we've used so far. I'm just going to erase little bits at a time. And I just want to go around this little eyebrow. So you can see some of the hairs like flicking up into it. So you just want to do little sort of triangles and sort of random pencil strokes just going up into that eyebrow. Now I'm just going up and down, and like I say, you want to follow that main fair direction, but if you've got a few going rogue, then that's quite good. It'll help it look quite natural. Like, don't have them going completely diagonal, but just slightly off to the sides, that's fine. Just going all around these shapes. So this is going to be the base for our darker fur now. You'll notice that it's a lot harder to draw over where we've just drawn with the cold and warm grey. That's just because we've already got two sort of quite hard layers on there already. Well, that's what I mean by, like, if you want to mix quite a few colours together, you've really got to work quite slowly, because it'll be really difficult otherwise. You won't be able to add all the colours together if you've already sort of covered that paper. Same on this side. I'm just going around this eyebrow to start with. I know they're not actually her eyebrows, but they look like. It's just the easiest way for me to describe them. So when I said earlier, don't worry about these flicky bits of hair, this is what I mean. So we're going to draw in the sort of negative space around them. So where the fur is dark, you're just going to draw in, like I say, like those little triangles. Just my little scrap piece of paper. Just go that sort of V shape. Oh, can you see it? That V shape. And quite a few of them next to each other. See, that's creating the illusion. Those white areas looks like the hair is just on top. So that's all we're doing for this section. And we'll do the same down here as well, just on the left hand side. This cold grey is just going in all of the parts that you can see that are pretty much black. obviously all of this area is black fur, but the really dark bits, that's what we're doing for this step. If you look on the right hand side, so you can see that some of the eyebrow hairs are quite long and they're extending into the black fur. So I'm not going to add this grey up here just yet. I want to do the light colours first, and then similar to what we did down here, like with those V shapes, we're going to do that with these long yellowy sort of tan colour fur. So I'm going to go around the top of her head now, just with this cold grey still. And just want to be careful at the top. Make sure you're keeping her sort of head shape. So I've erased my outline again, but I can still see it very lightly. Some of the hairs are sort of flicking out. I think she's like a puppy. So she's got puppy hair and it's like flicking out all over the place. Here it goes a bit lighter again, so I probably should have drawn that in earlier on when we did the cold and the warm grey, but it's fine, we can do it now. So I've only gone about halfway sort of down this grid square. Just because we've got this lighter section there. Just going to bring it around the other side and then we'll go in with that lighter bit. I find this bit the hardest. You've got to be really careful. Like I say, you want to make sure that you're keeping your head shape. Okay, I'm leaving it there for now because, like I said, I want to put the sort of yellow hairs in first. Okay, same steps as here then, just for this extra little light bit that I somehow missed earlier. You can use the cold grey and then, so cold grey 2 and then warm grey 1. I'm just doing literally the same thing. And it's raining again. This weather's horrible. Excited drawing this one. I think she's so cute. Right, now choosing the warm grey. Spaniel's one of my favourite breeds to draw. And my favourite breeds in real life too. I think they're so cute. I love drawing golden retrievers as well. And border collies. I've done loads of all of them. So my plan was to draw something a bit different for this this tutorial. Like obviously I was going to do a dog, but like I say, I've done loads of spaniels, loads of border collies, loads of golden retrievers, but I haven't done many King Charles Spaniels, so that's my excuse for this one. I've drawn loads of like cockers and springers, but only like 2 King Charles Spaniels, I think. I just thought it would be a good one to draw because, like I say, we've got all the different fur colours. And I haven't done many tutorials on my channel yet for like white and black fur. So I thought this could be part of it. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you can tell, it's just gone literally so dark because of the rain. Oh, bring the summer back, please. I don't know how people enjoy this weather, like they actually look forward to autumn and winter, and I don't understand. I just think they've got to be lying. There's just no actual way we're enjoying this. When it starts getting dark at like 4 o'clock, that upsets me. I just think there's no need for it. Just using the cold grey for the parts in the middle, just in between those 2 sections. If you do genuinely enjoy autumn and winter, can you let me know why in the comments? Like tell me, send me a message if you feel like it's not a safe space. Like I just genuinely I don't get it. Like I don't love, I hate it when it's hot. I really do. Like I love wearing like my jumpers and my trousers. I hate it when I'm going to put like a t-shirt on, and especially shorts. But I would take that any day over it just raining all day every day, which is what we get. So we don't really get that many like hot days anyway. We just have like a heat wave now and again. And it lasts for like maybe a week if we're lucky, but usually a couple of days. Apart from that, we have a lovely summer. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's not raining. Now we've got this, which is horrible. I'm going to use warm grey one just above her right eye. It's got like a lighter sort of area. And the cold grey as well. You could have done this part either way around, like before we've done the cold grey first. And for this part I did warm grey first just because I thought it was going to be, I don't know, maybe I should have done like warm grey 2 or something. But it just wasn't dark enough, so I've gone for the cold grey on top. Okay, we're going to go with these little eyebrows now, just so we can finish off this black fur around the top and then sort of finish your head, I think. Oh, actually first, I haven't coloured in this little bit. Now see, that's warm as well. But I'll just do the same thing, I'll use the warm grey one. See, look at me being conscious and trying not to use too many pencils. Okay, that's good for now. So getting rid of the grid in the middle of her eyebrows, we don't need that. Now I'm going to do a base of, yeah, I'll use this Naples Ochre from Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils. You can use ivory again if you don't have luminance pencils. So just a light sort of yellow, or if you've got cream from, yeah, probably cream from the polychromers is more similar to this if you have that. I think cream comes in like the 60 set. Just, again, following the fur direction, but I'm pretty much just shading in the entire eyebrow. And I'm going to use that as the base. It looks way too yellow at the minute, but when we sort of add the more colours on top, that's when we're going to be like mixing them together and it won't be as bright yellow. Now I'm bringing this up a lot more into the black fur because we've got those overlapping hairs, so we can go around those. We can cover some of them up but then leave some out as well. I'm going to use beige red now. This is another one from the polychromers. So I find pink is really good for sort of orangey colour fur. It helps, I find sort of, it helps to like tone the colour down a bit. So it's not as like bright yellow, bright orange. And it really sort of complements it. So I'm just getting those in the corners, like around the edges. Where it's quite bright in this like sort of middle section and then at the top on the right side. Just going to leave those for now. Just put the pink around the edges. It's hard to see like how dark we need to go because we haven't gone full black fur mode yet. We've only done like the light layers. But that's what I like about coloured pencils. You can just keep building the colours up. You haven't got to go like super dark straight away. I think I might use this burnt ochre, I think it's called. Yeah. Let me test on my little piece of paper. Just don't want it to be too orange, but I think it'll be okay. Yeah, so I'm just not going to press that hard now with this pencil. We just want little hints of it to sort of poke through. So it's burnt ochre from Polychromos, and it's orange basically. It's not like a bright orange. It's quite toned down. Now just add in little hints of it. Like I say, don't press too hard with this because otherwise it will be super orange. And again, I'm leaving those lighter areas. I'm going to use this Naples ochre again just to bring these hairs back out. And then I'm going to use the cold grey 4 just to go around it. And just outlining that top bit of her head there. Okay, now you're going to bring these first strokes down. So I'm going to start at the top and then go down into the eyebrow. Maybe you want to leave some gaps. Now I like to sort of add more than I think I need, and then I can always sort of take a step back and then I can look at it and think where I need to add a bit more of the black fur, or where I can leave those gaps. It'll all be like tidied up properly later anyway when we add like the darker pencils. Happy with that for now. I'm just going over with the Naples ochre again, just to blend those colours together. Just going to add some cold grey just to the right of her eye here. There's like a little darker section, and this is fine to just go on top of the warm grey. It's going to blend out quite nicely actually, because we've got those layers down already. want to start with some darker pencils now, so I'm going to use dark sepia mostly. If I can find where I put it. Got it? Right. So I'll start just above this left eye here. We can see there's a really dark section. Just doing little sketchy pencil strokes to sort of copy that fur texture. It's a lot shorter just around the eye, and then it gets a bit longer as it goes around the top of her head. Oh, actually, before this step, I think we can add some more colour into the lighter highlighted bits. So I'm going to use the sky blue again that we used for the reflection. You can see if you really look at the highlighted sections, you can see there's a lot of hints of blue in it. So I'm just lightly going over those parts. Just sort of like a glaze over the top. You don't want to colour it completely blue, but just that hint of it will really brighten up the drawing. We add this before all of the darker hairs. Can probably put a little bit of pink into it as well. Can use either pink or purple. I would use violet probably from the polychromos and just do a light glaze, or beige red will do the job as well. Okay, now we're going to carry on with the dark sepia. If you need to sharpen your pencil again, then I would. You want quite a sharp pencil for this step because we are adding in sort of the details now. You're going to press harder just in those darker areas where the fur is, and then just lighter where it's not as dark. It really is that simple. It's just knowing how to get that fur texture and the base layers and everything. And then the details on top just become quite easy, really. To start with, I'm just going over all of the cold grey. The cold grey 4, sorry, like the darker parts. Then we can bring the details into the highlights after. Just brought the dark sepia into the ear just to get that outline of her head. Don't want to lose that. Now see, this is where I'd like to turn my paper to get the fur to go round, so sorry if my hand is in the way. You can see now we're adding this dark sepia that these highlighted bits that looked quite dark earlier on don't look dark at all now. That's what can be quite hard with colour pencils sometimes, but like I say, because we build up the layers quite slowly and we're sort of doing like a section at a time, it doesn't matter because you can literally just keep going with it until you get that sort of result that you want. Oh my god, I'm doing this bit, I'm like holding my breath. Trying to make sure we get all of those hairs in. So we are just doing those little triangles. Try not to think of it as like different hairs overlapping each other and things, just look at the shapes and try and keep it as simple as possible. The second your brain starts to like overcomplicate it, your head's just going to be fried. So around both of the eyes, I'm just lightly using that dark sepia. You can see it's got darker parts to it there. So I'll just get those in. I'm going to use that cold grey 4 now and bring it into these lighter parts. So around this side is quite a lot darker, so pretty much just going to colour that in. So this is mostly going to be used around like the edges. Just do those long sort of hair strokes. I'm going to go back to the little eyebrows now. I don't want to add any black pencils just yet because I find that black smudges quite a lot. So I'm going to finish off the eyebrows, the lighter areas, and then we might add black or just some more dark sepia first. Or I've even got Payne's grey, which is quite good. This is it's like a really dark cold grey. Okay, I'm going to use Vista from Polychromos, and this is just a light brown. If you haven't got this one, Raw Umber is quite similar, or Brown Ochre, another quite similar one. Now, where these darker hairs are in the eyebrows, literally, you're just copying them onto your drawing, whatever direction they're coming from, wherever they're going. So I've got quite a sharp pencil for this. Been pressing quite hard too. Okay, and it's the same on this side. Next one then is going to be the burnt umber. Could do with my bigger pencil for this, but go with it for now. So this is like, it's quite like a reddy brown, and it's quite dark. So I'm going to use it quite sparingly, just where it's needed, where these darker hairs are in the eyebrows. Now I think, so that's toned down some of the brightness quite a lot. So I'm going to use the burnt ochre again, which is that orangey colour. Just going to add that just over, similar like to what we did with the blue over the highlights. It's just going to sort of glaze over the top, and it's going to brighten those sections back up again. Now that we've done that, I think we can really start to see the drawing come together now. So the eyes are pretty much finished, the eyebrows pretty much finished. It's just this black fur now. So I'm going to use the dark indigo, and I'm just going to go over some of the dark sepia that we've added, where you can see it's quite sort of cool toned. Just in some areas you can really see like hints of blue. You've just got to sort of, the more you draw and the more you look at photos, you'll be able to pick out these colours. But I do find in black fur you can often see a lot of blues in there. So just look out for them, and then the more you sort of practice, you'll know like where and when to sort of add them in. You don't have to, you could just use greys. but it just sort of brightens it up a bit and creates those sort of more rich fur colours. There's loads of different ways that you can draw like black fur and anything really. Obviously it's all just sort of personal preference. I'm just teaching you like how I draw things, and to be honest things change every time I'm working, but generally this is how I create all of my drawings. Like I say, it's just like different techniques and things that you've got to learn. Okay, some of this dark indigo can come out into the highlights as well. Don't put too much. So I find this dark indigo pencil is very pigmented, so you don't need to press very hard at all, and it still comes out quite sort of prominent. I have no idea how long I've been recording this now. I'm trying to keep each part to like an hour, hour and a half, sort of max. So it's like a manageable video, and you know, if you only want to learn how to draw sort of one section, then you've only got to watch, like, you know which video to watch essentially. But I've had to stop and start this so many times. I don't know how long I've been going. Okay, I'm gonna go, yeah, gonna be brave, and then I'm gonna use my black pencil. So this is just Polychromos black, and going over, first of all, like we did with the dark sepia, I'm going to go over each of these really dark areas with the black, and then we can start adding some more details into the highlights, either using the black or the dark sepia. Might even find that once we finish the black fur, we might be able to add some more of like the burnt umber into the eyebrows and things. Because like I said, things will look really dark until you've added the actual really dark parts, and then it doesn't look anywhere near dark enough. It's just all sort of your perspective, and it's like the contrast and everything. Sorry if my hand is covering again. I need to like turn my paper here. I'm trying to keep it all in one place sphere. So you can start adding some of those little flyaway hairs to sort of that outline of her head now. This little line here I went a bit crazy, but that's just going out into the ear, so that's fine. So this colour pencil's literally all about just building up those layers, making sure you're following the same direction as the fur, trying to sort of copy that fur texture with your pencil strokes. If you've got short fur, you're not going to want to do really long strokes with your pencil. You're going to want to keep your fur strokes really short, and you know, vice versa. If you're drawing like wavy fur, you're going to want to be quite loose with your pencil, whereas we've got straight fur, so being quite controlled with my pencil strokes, holding my pencil quite far down. If I was drawing wavy fur, I'd probably hold my pencil a bit further up and draw those sort of loose waves. You can start coming into these highlights now. I'm going to stay with the black pencil and just want to draw small strokes like that. Don't want to cover the full highlight. So obviously I still want to be able to distinguish between these highlighted bits and the darker bits. But I also need it to look a lot more natural. So I'm leaving some areas with that lighter base layer and then covering others just with short pencil strokes with my black. I'm just bringing some of the darker areas and I'm just like extending the fur into the highlights in some bits. I do find black fur one of the most tricky fur types, to be honest. I always have, which I think is why I've restrained from doing a black fur tutorial until now. They always end up looking like good, but sometimes I'm drawing and I'm just like, how did I get there? As we get towards like as we're working on this bit, which is like on her nose, the fur, like I say, is a lot shorter, so we can do those little mini sort of triangles with our black pencil. Okay, I think we're almost there now for this part of the video, or this part of the series, I mean. You could just sort of keep going back and forth until you get the right sort of colour that you're happy with. That's all I'm doing now, really. So just make sure your darker bits are as dark as you sort of want them to be, and same with your lighter areas. Make sure you've still got those highlights. Just going to add some of those tiny little flyaway hairs coming off the top of her head, and then so I'm just doing, literally as you can see, just teeny tiny pencil strokes, and then I think I'm just going to end that for part 1. If you do follow along with this tutorial, then I would absolutely love to see it. Let me know what you think, and if you post any photos or anything, please tag me on Instagram. It's catchrememory.art. In the next part, I'll probably work on underneath her eyes, probably this black section of her nose, and then we'll start her ears, I think. Done a couple of curly like curly fur and curly ear tutorials on my channel already, but no sort of real-time ones for black fur, so that'll be interesting. This is quite different as well. It's not super curly. She's got quite long, like wavy ears rather than curly ears, so it'll be a bit different as well. But I'm quite happy with how that is looking so far. So I'll leave that there for part 1. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you learned some new techniques. Make sure you're subscribed to see part 2. Thank you. Bye.